All right, so I want to say good morning to everyone again. Thank you for giving me your attention, and thank you for making today another beautiful morning as we examine an important topic in our exercise. Driving performance intervention, selecting and profiling. Now, before now, you are aware that we'll be looking at performance management. And if you remember, we started by looking at the formation. Before you can even talk about performance, we have to look at the graphical movement from the point of job, offering job to candidate. In fact, we even went as far as looking at what happened pre-employment stages. We saw that there's a need to have job designs. You design various jobs. Just like the way you want to make constructs of a building. There are, you see, so many bricks. So in the bricks, those bricks represent talent, you see, and you need to determine how many do we need to even erect a building, 4,000, 3,000, 2,000. The same way too, you design the organization. So the quantity surveyor will give you how many blocks do you need to make this building. Likewise, every organization, how many blocks do you need? How many individuals do you need? How many jobs? How many departments? And what are the profiling of this job? What will they do? What are the personal requirements? What are the job requirements, job specifications? Okay, the person has to do this, he will do this, he will do this, he will do this, he will do that, he will do this. So as you look at the element and metrics in the job definition, in order to frame the competencies, when you know that this is what the person is going to do, he will do this and do this, then we need this kind of person specification. He must have 10 years experience, 5 years experience. So why are you doing this? Because you have at the back of your mind where we are heading to. You know that this is what we want to deliver and execute. And to be able to do that and achieve that, you need the number of personnel, you need the number of jobs to be able to co-create. So there's a confluence between the jobs and the executioner, between the task and the taskmaster, between the person and then the roles. And that's what you do. So when you bring them in, you have to disconnect every mismatch. And that's what informs our interviewing. Why are we interviewing? Because you need to bring about a matching between the candidates and the job. You want to be sure that this guy can do this thing, and this thing can be done by this guy. So as you look at the person, you look at the job, and you bring them together, you mind them together, and that is the beginning of performance management. So up to the point of onboarding. Excuse me, you are disturbing me. Sorry, I have one little boy here, you can disturb. So that is the point where which you are facilitating performance. So it doesn't start when we issue out appraisal form. It doesn't start when we issue out KPI. It doesn't start when we wait for a period to do evaluation. It begins from the point of selection. It begins from the point of enrolling the person into your system. And when it enrolls your system, you support that through appropriate onboarding. Why are you onboarding the person? You want it to sit well. You want to initiate the person. You want to induct the person. You want to entrench your practices and philosophy and culture and methodology and how you do your thing in the person. Why? If he does not know, for example, now you are heading for battle, and as a soldier, you don't even know that you need a firearm. You don't even know that you need a grenade. How will you conquer your enemy? So because you need to go to battle, they tell you that, hey, you are facing this enemy. You need long gun, you need short gun, you need knife, you need grenade, you need this, because you don't want to go to that battle and come back defeated. The same way too happens also in the organization. So that is where it actually starts from the point of entry to the point of maintenance to the point of exit. We come, we stay, we go. Entry, maintenance, exit. Engage, maintain, disengage. So in the cycle of employment, in the cycle of our operations and interaction with the system, whether it's 2 years or 6 years or 10 years or 20 years, there is one thing that you want to ensure that it happens every single day, and that is performance. Nothing more. So when you look at it from that point of entry, and then the person is onboarded and is entrenched, is engaged, and you understand your system, it begins to work. As it's working, you are tracking, you are monitoring, you are checking, you are supporting, you are reviewing. Does he understand our system? Is he getting it right? Is he doing it well? Can he do better than that? Does he need anything? Is there any shortage? Is there any support to give him? Why? You are repairing, you are maintaining. The same way we maintain our car. If you buy your car, you are not foiling it, it will go down. If you don't pump the tire, you don't check your tire, you don't service it, you don't check the oil, the water, you say, okay, the car will be grounded. The same way human beings will get renewed and restrained and repositioned, particularly in the direction of the organization. What makes us to retool is because there is an expectation. What makes us to get reinvented? Because there is a corporate direction. What makes us to fit into the system? Because there is a specification we have to be able to align ourselves with, either as individual or as a team or as a system. Now, when all these things happen, and you bring in people, and work begins, and you are measuring, don't forget that performance has 3 tiers. The first is corporate performance, the collection of the entire persons and departments and units, because it's a system. A business is a system. It's an organism. Organism. It means it has components. The same way human beings do. We are an organism. That's why in OD, the first principle of OD begins with the use of self. Self, individual, is an organism. It has organs and tissues and intestines and liver. The same way too, a system is an organism. Organization is from the word organism. It's a system that is made up of components, made up of people, of different portfolios, different professions, different ideologies, different practices, different beliefs, different philosophy, different concepts. But all of these subcomponents support, work together to build a sustainable, surviving organization. That's why accounts have their own practices. HR have theirs. Engineering, QC, production, maintenance, R&D, tech, IT, internal control, and all of them. But one thing is that is the beauty of a system. When you see rainbow, you like it. You know why? Because it has a blended color. It's not just one color, blended colors. You see all those 7 beautiful colors as they interplay together. They bring their own uniqueness. The same way an organization, Dotun is not the organization. It's not Joel. It's not Shudima. It's not Felix. It's not Taye. It's the system, all of us together. So when we blend together, we build a system. When we work together, we build a system. So as HR has their own, account has their own, sales has their own, marketing has their own, production has their own, and everybody co-creates. That's what makes it to succeed. But you now begin to get wondering, why is the system not wondering? Then you come back to the department and say, okay, we've examined the top. We can't find it, we can't see it. Let's say it's happening somewhere in the department. And you begin to check, is it HR department? Is it account department? Is it sales? Is it production? Is it marketing? Is it control? Where? And when you diagnose the system and you find out, no, we can't find it, then you go down. It's maybe individuals. Because individual in the team determine corporate success. So when you look at all these gaps, gap analysis at the corporate level, gap at the functional level or team level, and gap at individual level. Now that takes you to driving your interventions. Don't forget, we are using the word interventions, not training. Because as you look through this, you will see that your role as HR is to facilitate. Don't forget, look at that word. To facilitate is to provide a platform. Is to strengthen. That's why you're not the one that is doing training for everybody. Are you? No. Why? Your role is to provide the platform. Your role is to provide the architecture that allows various individuals, various teams, various departments to rise and to produce, driving performance interventions, selection, and profiling. Now, I try to explain here the difference between facilitations and training so that people can understand, this area that is always missing. Now, your role here as a facilitator, as I said, is to drive every architecture, every initiatives that support brainstorming, strategic planning, theme building, coaching, mentorship, integrations, interaction, all with the aim of empowering. You empower individuals, you empower team, and you empower the organization. Why? Because you want it to perform. Because you have seen that there are gaps in performance metrics and measurement. And because you've seen that, I say, okay. And as I said it earlier, whether it is retrospect or introspect, it doesn't matter. But I need to say, if your performance is informed by the outcomes of your appraisal or performance evaluation or KPIs exercise, after you execute, you see gap. Fine. Or we have not even done KPI. You have not even done appraisal. But you know that this is where we are going. This guy does not have what it takes to execute. We have not even appraised. That alone gives you an insight into how do you build capabilities. You build individual competencies. You support team effectiveness. And you build entire corporate capability. Why? Why do you need that? Because there is only one litmus test to show whether we are performing. You know what? It is the corporate performance. Whether you are using your financials or value, whatever metrics, but once the company is performing, it means you are performing. And once the company is failing, it means it doesn't matter how many people we have supported or trained or whatever we have done. If the company is not showing, if the graph is not showing growth, something is wrong in the inside. And that's why it behoves of HR leaders. It behoves of line managers. It behoves of executives now begin to say, what are the way forward? And that's why we're looking at this. Now, let me say this. There are so many ways you can facilitate interventions. And there are so many types of interventions. It could be business facilitations. That's where you come in as OD consultant and strategist. It could be conflict resolution facilitation. You are resolving issues among people, issues between managers and management, employees and managers. It could be educational facilitation. You are helping growth in the educational system. It could be small group facilitation. You bring it 2, 3, 4, 5 people together and you are brainstorming and you are reviewing, you are reflecting and you are generating conversations. It could be training proper, which is one of the commonest. It could be wrap around facilitation. So all these are types of facilitation. But we are going further as HR. That you as HR, because here we are talking to HR leaders. So what should be your role? And what should be your attribute if truly you are facilitating organizational performances? Why? Your role is to mediate and to interact amongst departments and between people and people, managers and managers, executives, employees, and both cross-functionally, whether it's in account or sales or HR. Your role is to mediate, is to interact, is to collaborate, is to facilitate, is to cement. You see, you cement them together. So what are the things you need to do if you as HR will support performance intervention? Number one, you must prepare. That's what informs data analytics. HR has data. You don't say, I think it's not performing. No, what informs that? You have data. I'm going to share a document on dashboard. You will see HR dashboard. Your dashboard, you drive your car. Now, you don't have to come down and dipstick your fuel level and say, let me put this dipstick and see, where my fuel. You don't need to do that. Your dashboard tells you your fuel is going down, right? It tells you your water level is going down, right? It tells you that your other fluid, they are going down. It tells you that your car, you are speeding or you are slow. It tells, in fact, the modern cars now, if any of the back tire or front tire is down, there will be a sensor that will say, hey, tire down. It tells you, it punctuates you. That is a dashboard. There's a dashboard that tells you that this is our recruitment level. Look at the number of personnel you have, number of people trained, number of people promoted, number of how many males, how many females, how many married, how many single, how many ethnic. Why are you looking at that? That is where our company is made up of 90% Yoruba. We need people from all that diversity because you have a dashboard. It tells us that, about 50% of our people are performing at 50%. That is dangerous. We are not optimizing capacity. So you must have advanced preparation. 2, clear communication. Communicate what is missing. We must communicate that there is a gap. And the gap is clear. It must come from the top to down. Or it must come in form of suggestions and feedbacks and grievances and reaction from the lower one back up there. So you must clear the communication gap because you are facilitating. Why are you sending me for training? Why do you think I need a coach? Some few days ago, a client sent a manager for psychological intervention. Why are you sending me? I need to know. Your role is to communicate. Are you aware you are going for training? I'm not aware, sir. Please prepare and go for that training tomorrow. That is not communication. He doesn't even know why. So he goes in there, he laughs, he takes photograph, he comes by, he says, I'm back. This is a success certificate. You are not communicating. Active listening. Our role as a facilitator is to listen to situations, listen to problems, listen to every single person, and then ask questions. That active listening is what we call inquiry. Inquiry. Asking question is engagement, engaging people, interacting with people. What is wrong in account, in sales? How can we help you? Because our figure is showing that we have a lot of receivables from marketing. What's happening? We are holding the bank. We know that government is coming to come and lock us up. We are having issue with FRM. What can we do? You are asking questions. You are finding out what is happening. I want to understand. Don't just tell me that there's a problem. I want to come to the department and find out, are there problems? Timekeeping. Because things have to be closer within a short timeline. Establishing a psychological safe environment for sharing. People must go for training when they are in the best frame of mind, not when they are sad, when they are unhappy. They won't give you anything. Creating focus among the people and be unbiased in objectivity. So as leaders here, as you facilitate, as you support corporate interventions, you as a person or whoever you are bringing in to support corporate performance, whether line managers, whether other people from other departments, whether external facilitators, whatever, wherever, they are critical to the success of facilitation and the organization itself, our system itself. What do we want? What do we need? Where are you going? And the people we bring in, the people we are supporting. People in account, people in sales, in HR, in admin, in QC, in production, in quality control, in tech, wherever. And then what is the problem? What is the intervention we are driving? We must be able to speak to it and also support that direction. Now, there are two categories to facilitation. The first is internal facilitation, and the second is external facilitation. Now, in internal facilitation, it could be virtual facilitation, it could be physical, like what Mr. Jubili said. Okay, Glow wanted to train everybody, over 1,000 workforce. You can't gather 1,000 workforce in one place. So they have to connect to Coursera and take courses. That is facilitation through training. And this training has a response to the shift in current situation. And then it can be external. External in what way? In what way? For example, what I said now, who is the provider? Coursera. Coursera is external. But when you are the one doing it for your staff, for your managers, or a manager is doing it, that is internal. So above their own is virtual. Sometimes it can be physical. You will see as we go further the various types that I'll be able to put here so that we can understand the importance of facilitation. And we must know that it must have impact. In all our exercises and projects, we are always want to find out, are these things working? Are they delivering the value and the expectations? Are they supporting performance? Are they helping people to move from level A to level B? Are they making them to drive the real value you want? So this flow of impact affects participants because they are the ones you are supporting. Whatever activities, whatever plans, whoever facilitates, whoever supports, whatever organization, if it does not support and affect individuals, then we are wasting our time. It does not matter the amount of hours, amount of time we have spent, or how much money we have spent, or who or where it is done, whether it's done in London or Dubai or Durban, it doesn't matter. If it does not enhance and strengthen and take participants from point A to point B, then it's not having value. And the second thing you must also pay attention to is the instruction design, instruction material, delivery methodology, style of delivery, mood of delivery, location of delivery. They are essential to helping people you are helping to drive value. So whenever there's facilitation, we are also conscious of the fact that this facilitation must be able to drive and support the real things we want to do. If it doesn't support this real thing we are doing, then there'll be a problem. And our people will not be able to perform. And when they're not performing, then there's no value. And then facilitation itself, the activity itself, what you are doing, and what solution are you trying to bring or derive or drive through these activities. Don't forget that there's a purpose for this L&D, and it's a purpose for these performance interventions. And I just want to remind us again, we've talked about it before. Number one is to keep promises. To who? We want to keep promises to investors. We want to keep promises to employees. We want to keep promises to customers. We want to keep promises to government. And we want to keep promises to community through our product and services. Two, growth strategy. We want to articulate our primary growth strategy, customer intimacy, product innovation, geographical expansion. We want to align our decision with growth. We want to invest. We want our stakeholders, all of them, investors, employees, customers, government, community, to feel that this is why we are here and we are growing. Our bottom line must show, our graph must show, our finance must show, our expansion must show, our core competence. We want to have the right competencies that deliver our value, that deliver our strategy. So when we formulate strategy, very fine, but it doesn't end there. It goes further, that those strategies are cascaded into various functions and units and roles and departments, and they are propelled through actionable initiatives and then capabilities. We want to build a system So why are we running training? Why are we going for coaching? Why are we doing this one? Because we want to build capabilities, individual competencies, team effectiveness, and corporate. The totality of what we have is our corporate capabilities. So we understand that for you to help participants, for you to help employees, when I say employees here, I mean normal employees, junior staff, supervisors, officers, assistant managers, executives, GM, CEOs. Here, they are all referred to as employees who need support. Nobody can say, okay, I don't need support. No, you need support. You need to learn for now and for tomorrow. So in helping them, we must understand their problems and their pains, their fears, their needs, their wants, their likes, their goals, their influences, their relationships, their affiliations, their alliances, their experiences, their aspirations, their options, expectations, questions, knowledge, skills, activities, attention, communication, interactions, emotions, memories, satisfaction, perceptions, beliefs, admirations, attitudes, opinions, values, learning, ideas, motivations, objections, priorities, choices, behaviors, personality, self-concept, thrust, loyalty, recognition, time, energy, risk, investment, rewards, ROI, lifestyle, life cycle, stage, social class, culture, subculture, age, family, education, hobbies, and interest. Why? One of the reasons why intervention fails is because people just deploy without the buying of the credentials of the participants. People deploy. They say you should go for training. Okay. They say we should go for training. Without first filtering and understanding and engaging. When we say engagement, we are not saying you're going to sit down one by one with 1,000 people, but we create mechanism that enables us to hear from the people so that we can support them effectively and the activities can yield value. Mr. Joyce, Mr. Jubilee said, it's not cheap. Those courses for 1,000 people, we consider it's not cheap. And you don't want it to just come back and say, hey, hi, here's my certificate. More than that. We want more than that. If that's all we want, then you can get it from anywhere. So if certification is what they want, then let it translate to value on the scorecard. Because if you come back with 10 certifications and then it's in the drawer, it's in Mr. Jubilee's drawer, it's in Mr. Joyce's drawer, it's in Madam Shidima's drawer. Where are they? Where did you put them? It's in the drawer. But you bring the brain, you bring the head, you bring the skill every single day. But the paper is in the drawer. You don't bring paper every day. That is why we have to start again by looking at the flow chart. Let's see the flow chart. 1. Gap analysis. What is the problem? The role of HR is what is the problem? What problems are we solving? Number 1, we must understand that as a business, we are here to solve problems. No organization exists without solving problems. 2, we do not bring people to organizations to come and be drinking tea or playing Ludo. We bring them to solve problems. If we are fine and we don't have any problem, we will not employ you. If everything is perfect in our system, we will not bring you. But because there are imperfections, there are deficiencies, there are issues, there are gaps, there are problems to solve in society, that's why we bring you. So gap analysis has to be first understood and carried out, understanding the root cause of these gaps. It could be corporate gap, it could be departmental gap, or individual gap. It could be introspective. We are thinking, we are just looking at, we are ruminating through. It could be retrospective. After the appraisal exercise, we saw the gap. Or we had even seen the gap before the appraisal. Analyze the gap. Individuals gap, team gaps, corporate gaps. Then when we do that, then we identify who is responsible. That is participant identification. We've seen the gap and we have seen that this is the role of this guy here. If this guy does not have this skills, he can't do this thing. If this woman does not have this skill, she can't do this thing. If these people don't have this skill, they can't do this thing. So we identify the people or the outcome of the appraisal or performance management or KPI suggests and show that these guys are deficient in this area. Then specific require interventions. Let's not just generalize all the interventions. What are the specific ones? The method of deploying interventions. What method do we want to adopt in deploying these interventions? Who will deploy this intervention? Engagement, and then expected outcomes to achieve, measuring the deliverables and reflecting on the impact, the return on investment. Analyze the gap. Find out who is the participant. Reflect on the specific interventions. Specific, don't forget, not generic, specific. It means what I need may not be what you need. What the guy in sales needs may not be what the guy in marketing needs. What the guy in sales region A needs may not be the same thing the guy in sales in region B needs. What the guy in account receivable needs may not be the same thing the guy in payable needs. Specific interventions. The method of deploying it, we will look at our system, we look at our organization, and look at the people we are even deploying for, and then and customize. This may take time, but that is the best way to get value and result. And who is the person we're going to use? Who? What has he done before? Where? Does he understand our system? Does he know us? Can he understand us? We don't just come and say, hey, just come and talk to our people. Just come. Come and talk to them. On what? For what? What are they going to take away from that talk? What do you want to solve with the invite? We don't call it because you are popular. We don't call it because you have come to LBS or wherever you have gone to, or you have gone to Alpha. We call it because you have the solution to our organization. Then expect it out, mark it out, match it, check it, reflect it, and review it. And then measure it. Measure it. So, as I said, individuals or team or corporates. Now, before we bring in facilitation, or before we engage facilitation, or before we deploy facilitation, what are the things we must know, whether as individual, whether as external facilitator, or internal? Number one, we must have a brief understanding of the gaps, of the need of the objectives. When people call us for retreat, I always ask this question: what is the problem? Some HR says that we are stressing them. I say, but you are inviting us to come and do retreat. And I say, what is the problem? And you say, I should just look for 5 topics. I can look for 5 topics. I can't use the same material I use for company A, for company B. There is hardly any training material that you have that I don't have. This training material that you are seeing in my hand, I spend hours to review it, because I am meeting different people. So the same materials cannot meet the needs of every organization. The same topic. For me, I have never treated the same topic for the same organization in the same way, because their peculiarities are not the same. Their DNAs are not the same. Their uniqueness are not the same. So we must be able to understand that we as HR that facilitate engagement, when we are bringing facilitators, we don't bring them because the guy is popular. We don't bring them because the guy has so many followers. We bring the guy who understands our peculiarities. And we bring somebody who can be able to take us through our solution. Needs and gap analysis, very critical. And 2, find out whether the person is a subject matter expert. You want to train somebody on finance, or on accounting, for example, now, and you are bringing HR. I am not an accounting person. I can't facilitate accounts. Even though I know accounting, but that's not my core. That's not my field. You bring somebody who is a core. Don't say I can do all things. There's not like I can do all things. Yes, you can give that organization, but they must provide you an expert. Why do you have to have a profile of the person? You want to benchmark the profile before you invite the person and say, sorry, sir, this guy can't do it. This is not what you are looking for. Understanding of the industry. Does he know your industry? Does he understand your industry? When I say understand your industry, I'm not saying that he must work in your industry. I mean, you let him understand that this is where we work. This is telecoms. This is not manufacturing. This is not a church. Okay? This is not logistics. This is not food and beverages. He must take time so that when he's talking in line with your industry. He is not using another industry to benchmark it, because it's not going to work. When you come to train in Glo, compare them with Airtel. Compare them with MTN. Compare them with Etisalat. Don't compare them with Cadbury. This is not Cadbury. This is telecoms. When you come to train for ABC logistics, you compare them with logistics companies. You don't compare them with MTN. Industry peculiarities. So that when a material is being designed, the materials are designed in line with your peculiarities. Verify past experiences. He has done this. Can I find out? So, okay, can you tell us where and where have you trained? Can you tell us what have you designed? How did you design their performance management? How do you support them? Where have you facilitated? Let us see. We want to find out before we deploy it to our system. Clarify audience and participant characteristics. You know, one of the reasons why many people fail when they facilitate, whether you train, you coach, you mentor, is because they don't take time to find out who is this guy or who are these people. Ask and say, give us the names of the participants. Give us their job titles. Give us their genders. We want to know their gender peculiarities. We were doing a training for Nasarawa state government. And when they came, I didn't know. I was just shaking everybody. So I was trying to shake some of the women, and they didn't answer me. So I was still trying to. So somebody now called me and said, no, that I should not shake them, that they don't like it. You need to find out. And when we were having that training, that time, I was calling more of the women. And somebody wrote me that these people, they don't like it, that I should call more men than women. Because here, they have that peculiar that, men are in charge. So if you don't do that, you will make mistakes. Find out the demographic of the participants. And if you are the HR, if you are given anybody you are inviting, and tell them that, please, sir, let me tell you about those who are coming. We have 5 from account, 3 from HR, 4 from this, and then let me tell you about these people. This guy, you need to take him because he can be playful. This one, he can be feeding with phone. You need to share this character. It helps facilitation. This guy is the one that has the highest problem. Please focus more on him, please, and ask him more questions. This other one, they can be taking excuses. Do not grant excuses. These are the areas why you see facilitation failing. Then agree quality of materials and alignment to specification. I was training for a firm, and I asked somebody to join me. So I asked to share his material. When I saw the material, I rejected. I said, "My Oga, you can't train with me." He said, "I'm ready." I said, "I'm sorry. I have to. I paid, but I said no. You can't train with me." We must be able to know where we stand. Agree deliverable and methodology. How do you want to deliver? It's important because we want to know whether it's aligning. Don't forget, it is not about clapping and shouting and say hi and with 2 photographs. It's about value. And then you check who is facilitating what. If it is training, if it is coaching, if it is engagement, if it is interaction, number 1, punctuality and attendance. I'm very happy that almost everybody here comes early. It is important to be very, very punctual. Anybody who is not punctual is not a serious person. And who cannot send you a message, sorry, I'll be late, sorry, I will not come today, is not a serious person. So punctuality and attendance, even of the facilitators. You can't come in as a facilitators and then you are late and then you are panting and you want to start immediately. Okay, if you are going to train, 30 minutes must be there so that you can take time, rest, look at the system, look at the structure, have eye contact with the system so that when you are talking, you'll be relating with what you have seen around. Or you are just coming tired, jaded, sweating, panting, and you want to mount the podium. It's not done that way. Then the next is appearance and gesture and audibility. If you are going to train us, you have to look nice. You have to look neat and decent and presentable. You don't look haggard and awkward and loose and kept. We're doing retreat somewhere and I invited somebody to come and join us. And then when I saw him, I look at his suit, I look at his shirt, I look at his shoes. I said, guys, I need to see you, sir. I said, I'm sorry, you cannot facilitate here. He said, what happened? I said, look at the way you are looking. You want to show us a model, an example. See, he said, he has come. I said, okay, I know you have traveled a distance, but you can't train like this. He said, what can I do? I said, well, I will give you money. You can run out to Ikeja and buy shirts and change, and then you'll be back. That was how he went to buy and came back and train. We need to be very intentional about facilitation and the communication, simplicity, and ethics in engagement. Don't speak big grammar for the factory workers. Don't speak too much grammar for you are interacting with people. Come down to their level and interact in ways and manner that they can understand you. Don't speak too much grammar. Don't speak French. Speak English. I went to do a retreat sometimes in Zaya, and I told her, I said, these people here, 90% here, they are Hausas. Write your handbook in Hausa and give them. Write your this one in Hausa. Write your vision statement also in Hausa and give them. Alignment of facilitation material to the needs. Scenarios, conciseness, in-depth, and contextualization. What we are using, is it supporting them? What we are using as example, is it helping them? Is it helping them to move and to learn and to relate and to move forward? Audience grabs, connectivity, and usability and application. Are they grabbing? Are they getting it? The guy that you are talking to about his appraiser, has he moved? Has he improved? Or are you insulting and abusing and shouting? We must know how it works. And then what happened after engagement, after facilitation? What happened? Whether it is internal or external. So this applies to whether it's internal, and that's why before you talk about somebody, you ask for the file. You check the file, you look at the file, you make your records analysis, and then you go to the management and present. I share with you the case of an assistant manager whom we promoted over the manager. I look at the records. Records are clear. So what are the things that you should check after? Now, post quality of material used. if they're using materials, whether it is PPT, whether it is Excel, whether it is PowerPoint, whether it is drawing, whether it's scenario, whether it's case study, whatever it is, whether it is example, whether it's classwork, whether it's coursework, quality, how does it support this person in moving or in closing out the gaps? Quality of facilitation, not just training. The man that you bring to coach this guy, what is the quality of the coaching? The guy that you bring to mentor, what is the quality of mentorship? The guy you are counseling, what is the quality? Is the counseling yielding value and facts? Is it helping to advance further? And the communication and engagement with audience. Check the language, check the samples, check the pattern, check whether he's speaking above them, and the time management. Everything has timing, and you have to close issues within short time. Scenarios, case studies, group discussion, peer-to-peer review, how they helping, and then ethics, manners, self-management of facilitator, and connecting the world of reality, bringing it down, listening, and moderation. So as we check this, we have to understand in our, I like what Mr. Joel said, we have different types of generation we are dealing with. And as HR leaders, you must know, how do we support different generations in line with their peculiarities? Number one, the greatest generation, which is the 1901 to 1924. Most of us, we don't have them again. Most of them are no longer alive. We have the silent generation, 1925 to 1945. And then the baby boomer, 1946 to 1964. And then the Gen X, 1965 to 1979. And the millennial, 1980 to 1994. And the Gen Z, 1995 to 2012. And the Alpha generation, 2013 till 2025. All these generations, we co-create, we work together. But how do we manage them differently? And how do we provide specific interventions that respond to specific needs? Specific interventions that respond to specific uniqueness. Specific interventions that respond to specific differences. We have to understand these peculiarities if we are going to drive and support organizational performances. And in managing that, we must understand the role of diversity and inclusion. Before we close, let me talk about 3 types of learning interventions so that we can understand that learning interventions goes beyond just training. Number 1, it's called conventional learning interventions. Now, you see, why do we use conventional learning interventions? You see, these interventions are very common and very peculiar, generally and across organizations. Number 1, this includes reading. We share books, we buy books, we have library. When you read, the word is brought to you. When you read, you see bigger word. You see expand word. You see the word beyond your imagination. You see how other people think and reason, what they have learned and seen. The word that you cannot explore. Books bring it closer to you. And through books, we create what we call knowledge sharing session. This guy will read this book, he will share chapter 1. This one will share chapter 2, based on the writer's experience or exposures or involvement or friction, and we internalize them. Books like 7 Habits, they have shaped us, and several of them. So we discuss the content of the books and the action plan. I have led a lot of books reading in several organizations, and it's a very strong and powerful conventional learning interventions. Number 2 is instructor-led classroom trainings, where somebody is instructing and is leading the participants, sharing based on the subject matter. And then on the job, that job that you do, you are HR, you are accountant, on that job, you are being trained on it. And then we attend seminars. We see people from different organizations, people from different walks of life. They come together and they expose us to trends and practices on the field. And we go for conferences. Why are we going to a conference? We confluence together. You see wider exposure, wider participation. And then we look at the same voice, the same direction in that industry, in that profession. And how do we advance it forward? Conventional learning intervention. The next one is called contemporary learning intervention. Contemporary. From here, what do we see? We see experiential learning training sessions. What you are doing here is experiential. I'm sharing my experience. I'm sharing what I have done. So This sometimes you meet with people who are veterans, people who have gone and done it farther, and they begin to share with you in a learning class, not in a coaching class now. And they're telling you that this is how to handle this situation, and this is how we have handled this one in the past, and this is how we manage this one. And then we have e-learning modules like what Coursera and all of them are doing. E-learning module. Then you also have, so for the e-learning module, it's already programmed. Just go take the course. And then you have virtual instructor-led training. You see, this is virtual. And then you have webinars. Several webinars are going. They are all there to empower us and to strengthen us and to help us to grow. You have job shadowing. All these things help us to facilitate learning. We have coaching. And we have mentorship. This, for example, now this program is coaching program. It's 6 months where we are supporting. We are looking internally into individual support and how we can help them to grow. And we are having sessions and brainstorming sessions and activity sessions, and we are asking questions, we are reflecting, we are reviewing, we are examining it face to face. And then mentorship, a stage-by-stage approach by which we take people higher. And the last one is called futuristic learning intervention. As the world evolves, as the world of work evolves, as things change, as the climate, as the business world are all demanding extremely, things are changing. What are the changes? Number one, productivity groups. You see people, they come together and they say, how did you solve this problem? And this one shared this, how I solved my problem. This is how I handled this one. I was encountered with this one and I moved like this, I moved like this. Productivity groups. We help people to say, how have you been doing it in your company? How did you move forward your company? Share with us your secrets. Then we go to blogs. We read a lot of blogs to see how people pick insights, how people practice things, and then we belong to online forums. Why do we go to online forums? You see people from different regions and countries and prices and industry. They are sharing their perspectives, experiences, issues, and what they see. Then you have collaborative workspace and zones. You bring Glow Lagos and Glow Abeokuta and Glow Ibadan, and they're all sharing it together. Or you see, this is telecommunication, HR in manufacturing, HR in food and beverages, HR in telecoms, HR in churches. That is what we're doing. Then peer learning review, professional. They are reviewing together and brainstorm together. And you have reflective thinking targets. How have we solved this problem in the past? And what can we do? And you have Booty Park, where we take one-on-one person through how the person can, be entrenched in our system. And you have game learning. You see, game helps to put us to spotlight. That's why you see games like, typical one like when you play draft and things like that and chess. They help us to drive our internal abilities and to look at issues as scenarios and how to solve them. And you have learning by co-creation. We reinvent, we recreate, we reprogram, we remodel. We look at things that we have and say, we can do this thing better. We can make it better. We can drive initiatives. We look at all our templates and documents and say, no, they are not working again. Let's create another one. Let's build another one. Let's support another one. The performance is key, and that's why we exist. Whether as a small or as a big corporation, whether in Lagos or anywhere in the world, whether in telecoms or manufacturing, every corporation exists to solve problems. And in solving these problems, we need people. And as we bring in people, we need to support the people too. Driving interventions, driving support, driving continuous learning, so that in the end, individuals can perform, team can perform, and corporation can perform. In the end, we become a purpose-driven organization. I like the word of Michael Armstrong, and he says, we will be in some form of denial if we didn't see that execution is a true measure of success. We can talk about performance. We can say it, but are we really performing? As individuals, are we performing? As corporation, are we performing? As a team, are we performing? Is our graph showing? Is all our activities and investitures, are they reflecting? Are they showing in the graph that truly we are performing? Because the only language to measure performance is to see the outcomes. Thank you.